Welcome to Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio coverage of the NextGen Charity Conference 2011. We're at the Tribeca Performing Arts Center in downtown New York City. With me now is Rachael Chong. She's the founder of Catchafire, started with the vision to make it easy for every professional to use their skills for good and make it easy for every nonprofit and social enterprise to access and effectively use pro bono help. Rachael Chong, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much.
It's a pleasure to have you. What do you think nonprofits are not getting quite right with volunteer use of pro bono time?
That's an interesting question. I don't think it's that they're getting something wrong. I think it's that they have traditionally had a hard time accessing a range of volunteers, meaning that it's traditionally relatively easy to find your volunteer that's going to stuff envelopes and work in the soup kitchen, but it's harder to find the volunteer that's going to help you on a specific project that requires a skill. So, for instance, it's more challenging for a nonprofit to find a marketing professional or a website designer than it is for them to find somebody who can just do a menial task. And the reason why it's challenging is because they don't know where to go to find those people. And if they're looking for something specific, they probably need it right away or in the short term, and to find somebody in that short period of time is very challenging.
Okay, and how does Catchafire fill that the gap around access?
We do that in a very simple way, or we've made it simple for organizations, and that is we have an online platform that connects the social good organization to the talented professional. So our platform works like an eHarmony, where we're actually pushing tailored opportunities, as in pro bono opportunities, to professionals that are suitable for that specific project. And then the nonprofit organization on the other end receives a vetted candidate for the specific project. One key thing about our service is that we've actually structured projects in a way to make it really easy for the organization to articulate what it is they need. And that's through our project menu. So we've actually templatized common nonprofit needs into projects. And these projects are characterized by three things. One, they're short term, meaning that on average, they're 30 to 50 hours of a professional's time over 2 to 3 months. They're discrete and tangible, meaning that there's a very clear and tangible scope of work and deliverable, like a social media plan or a Salesforce database customization or a logo design. And third, it's tailored for the busy individual. So this means that we're making it easy for somebody to volunteer after hours or on the weekend, or if their company gives them time to volunteer during work.
Okay, so our audience is roughly 1,000 nonprofits. They would just go to catchafire.org. And what is their requirement to have their work need processed through, or find a pro bono volunteer through Catchafire? What do they need to do?
Well, you're exactly right. So they just come to our site, www.catchafire.org. They register. There's a simple registration process. And then one of our service officers will reach out to them and give them a phone call. During that short 30-minute phone call, we get to know who the organization is. The organization gets to ask us questions. And this is our vetting process that goes two ways, meaning that we figure out whether or not that nonprofit is the right fit for us, and that nonprofit figures out whether or not we're the right fit for them.
Okay.
And this is important because we charge a membership fee to organizations to access our talent. And that's very important to us because we're trying to create high quality, very meaningful volunteer experiences for our professionals, and we want to make sure that organizations have skin in the game before they access our talent.
Do they have to have the project pretty well defined already, or will you help them do that in that 30-minute conversation?
We help them do that, one, through this project menu where projects are already templatized. So you can see those projects online if you go to the project menu link. And then furthermore, because this project menu is quite deep, meaning that we have nearly 50 different projects on this menu, there is an account manager that the organization is assigned to when they come on board as a member, and this account manager helps them determine which projects are best for their specific needs.
How does Catchafire do the vetting on the pro bono, the specialists or the expert side?
That's a great question. So again, our technology
platform. Not worded very well. I struggled through getting it out, but thank you.
That's okay. I got it. I got your question. So the way we vet professionals is again through our technology platform. The reason why our technology platform, and I keep coming back to that, is so important is because we're trying to scale the solution. To make it easy for every professional to access great pro bono opportunities, and for every nonprofit to be able to access high-quality professional services. So professionals come on board and they register on our website. We take their profile information, meaning that we use a LinkedIn API, for instance, and we grab their resume data. They tell us what causes they're interested in and even what nonprofits specifically they're interested in, and then we have a snapshot of who they are. Once we have that snapshot, we're able to push to them pro bono opportunities that match their skill set and their cause interest.
Okay.
Then they're actually looking at this tailored list, and then they're selecting from which ones to apply to. So then they actually have to submit an application to the organization. That application is then reviewed by the organization, and that organization has choice then over which professional they choose to use.
Okay, and I think that's very important that the organization is the one making the choice.
Yep.
Yeah. And then is there a feedback mechanism on both sides so that the organization can comment on the professional's work and vice versa as well?
Yes, there is. So there's a couple of key feedback loops. One is once we've made the match on the technology side, meaning that the professional has selected the project, applied, and then the nonprofit has selected that volunteer to work with. We go into what we call a 2-week grace period or a 2-week dating period where the organization and the professional work together for 2 weeks, and we encourage them to check out the person's personality style, their communication style, their work style, because our matching algorithm is not smart enough to do those things yet. And so they really get a chance to get to know each other before they commit to the 30 to 50 hour project. And that's a really nice opportunity to provide feedback to Catchafire on whether or not it's the right match. But to be frank, only 5% of the time do we rematch during that grace period.
Okay.
And then at the end of the project, the nonprofit rates and reviews the professional, and the professional rates and reviews the nonprofit organization. Catchafire keeps that information, and through the account manager, relays it back to the respective party. Eventually, those ratings and reviews we want to make public so that people can make more informed decisions about the organization that they're volunteering with and the professional that they're bringing on board to volunteer for them.
Okay, you say eventually. They're not there yet?
Not there yet.
Okay. Rachael, Catchafire grew out of your own dissatisfaction, right? Trying to provide pro bono help, and you didn't find a way to do it effectively.
That's right.
Yeah.
So after college, I went into investment banking and had a great time doing traditional volunteer work, but what I really
meaning the stuffing envelopes type
yeah,
work.
What we did
unskilled work.
Yeah, what we did was actually the whole investment banking analyst class went out and built a house for Habitat for Humanity, and I think that's a really great activity. And I still do that type of work, but I wanted to volunteer my financial skills. And I searched for 6 months every single day, and I couldn't find any way to do so. And I just thought that was absolutely absurd. And in fact, it was, I think, the impetus that drove me to quit banking pretty early on and go into the nonprofit sector. And I quit because I felt like I couldn't stay in corporate America and give back in a significant way at the same time. That's not true. That's a false choice, but for me it felt so. And so I quit I went into microfinance. And while I was in microfinance, I had the very great opportunity to help start up a nonprofit in New York called BRAC USA. And we used pro bono very effectively to help build capacity within this startup organization. And as a result of that, I learned that, and I came to the hypothesis that every organization should think about how to use pro bono to build capacity within their organization to take it to the next level.
Right.
And so I've been on both sides of the marketplace.
Well, the finance world's loss is the nonprofit community's gain.
Oh, thanks.
Rachael Chong is the founder of Catchafire. You're listening to Tony Martignetti nonprofit radio coverage of the NextGen Charity Conference 2011. Rachael Chong, thank you very much for being a guest.
Thanks so much, Tony.
It's been a pleasure.